How are you? How are you? Hi guys. How is everybody? Good morning. Good. Yeah, good morning. It's still morning. How is everyone? I thought I'd just pop on here and start chatting. Who knows? Hope everyone's doing good. What's everyone working on? Anyone working on any games or anything? What games have you been playing? I am currently working on, who knows what this is? Any guesses? I actually have to get out and start working on this today, but I'm dreading it because it's so cold outside. Yeah, Carl, it is. Let me show you. I'll tell you exactly what it is here in Michigan. I pull out my phone. It's 22. It was 5 degrees earlier this week. So it's actually warming up, I guess. I haven't been outside yet today. Been just kind of chilling. I actually asteroids. I have a couple asteroids boards in the queue. I don't have stunt cycle. I've fixed a couple of stunt cycles recently. Kind of a cool game. My Berserk game crashed on me. So I'm gonna have to fix that CPU board. I just put it I just put it away. I was like, yeah, I'm not messing with this right now. The good news, Mark, about that is the schematics are really good about, if I remember correctly, the schematics are really good about pointing out what is what and what circuitry is what, it does what. So it's not extremely tough to zero in on where you should be looking, type of thing. Kind of cool. Yeah, this one right here, I just washed this. I bring boards in the house to wash them, but I actually wash them in the tub. This is a Rockola Eyes. Fun little game. Pretty cool little game. Yeah. Yeah, well, Mark, just take your time on it, and everything that seems to be centered around your biker or player or whatever, just look into that stuff. If it's jumping around, if he's jumping all over the place, it could be you might want to start with the line counters or something like that. Yeah, eyes is really cool. I got two of these for repair, two of them and one of them's fine. I plugged it in and it works fine. This one seemed to work, but there was a graphics glitch, and it does not have an audio amp. So I'll put an audio amp in it, and it may straighten itself out just by removing the chips and putting them back in. Every now and again, those easy repairs are very welcome, because sometimes you get some of them that are just not easy. Hey, Peter, how you doing? I know it's a shocker. I'm doing a live hangout chat. I figured why not, get on here before I get out and get started. So what's the weather like out there in Montana, Carl? I've actually been kind of slacking a little bit on getting stuff done. I've had some trying family stuff going on, and I'm looking to get back into the swing of getting some stuff done. But it's been a rough couple of months around here. Now that is cold. -30. Holy crap. What's up, Eric? How you doing? Welcome to the Hangout stream. Yeah, Mark, it's rough when you have a parent that gets sick, and it's hard to deal with. My brother just texted me and said my brother actually lives 2 houses from me. And he said, he just texted me and said he's whipping up some pancakes and bacon if I was interested. I already had breakfast, so I'll just tell him I might come over later. Who knows? Yeah. New Orleans. You don't have to worry about this cold, do you? The 20s and 30s. Wow. Yeah, the 20s and 30s is very unusual for New Orleans. I've been dreading going outside. My workshop is out back of my house, as y'all probably know. But just having to get bundled up to go out there is like, ugh, yeah. Thanks, Peter. We will persevere and push through. It seems like I remember New Orleans one year getting some snow around the Super Bowl, or was that Dallas or something like that? I don't know. Yeah, that Berserk game quit on me, and right in the middle of playing it, it just froze up, and I figure I gotta redo that. That CPU board has a lot of battery leakage damage on it. I'm gonna have to totally strip that out and redo it. And I just I just put it aside for now. Yeah, Mark, I seem to remember that. I seem to remember. I seem to remember it about something revolving around football. Like it was showing the Superdome or something like that with snow. Carl, I got bad news about both of my cats. They are both gone. I have no cats now. Tell you, it's been a rough few months around here. Yep, both of the cats. One of them, the black one, Boo Boo, just got sick and died. And the other one got hit by a damn car. Got ran over by a car. And I never thought that she would go that way, because she was more street smart than that. But yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I figured I'm gonna just not. I'm gonna be animal free for a while. It looked like it was snowing. I took a peek outside today, and it was snowing today. So yeah, yeah. No, I'm not talking about the two cats. That was a total bummer about the cats. Yeah. Yeah, Mark, it's not been good lately. So that's why I say I've kind of been slacking on getting stuff done, and I just had other things going on. So getting ready to get back in though. I got a ton of stuff out there I have to get to. It's almost overwhelming to where I don't even know where to start, but I'm gonna go with first in, first out, whatever I've got in there that's been here the longest, I'll start chipping away at. Yeah, it was a pretty bad blow, man. Doc, that it is like losing a family member, really. It sucked. Thanks, Colin. Yeah. Hi, Brendan. You guys like my shirt? Check that out. My overtime arcade shirt. I never watched the video where Charlie over at Overtime Arcade put the flyback that I sent him into that monitor. Did you guys see that? Because I do believe that he made a video of that. I've been so wrapped up in stuff, I haven't even watched any YouTube stuff. I got to catch up on that. Yeah, he sent me this, and he sent me a beanie hat, which I love. It's super warm, and the coffee mug. I'm not using that coffee mug right now, but he did send me a coffee mug too, and I'm sure maybe you guys saw that in some one of the videos. But yeah, that was awesome. I love that he sent me this stuff. Cool. Yeah. Actually kicked around the idea of getting a little dog. Now, I'm not a big dog guy, but I was thinking about getting like a little dog, I don't even know. I know nothing about dogs. I've never owned a dog, guys. Never in my life have I owned a dog. So I don't really know anything about dogs, but I was thinking about getting a little one. Carl, I have no idea what that is. Tuesday night Zoom chat. I don't know what that is. Brendan, the Fluke EMU. I don't know what that is. Fluke EMU. Tuesday night chats. I don't know if I can. I do. I don't know if you guys you might have seen or whatever, but I'm into sim racing, and I race. I'm in racing leagues a few nights a week, and Tuesday's been one of those nights. Yeah, I have no idea about that, Brendan. No idea. I've never owned a Raspberry Pi. I don't know nothing about that stuff. I'm one of those guys that kind of got to take kicking and screaming into the new technology type stuff. I like my old stuff. I'm familiar with it and I'm comfortable with it. And getting into new stuff is not easy for me. It's not something that I just jump at. Yeah, Carl, absolutely. If I'm ever around, and it's I don't know, I'm kind of funny about it. I kind of hard to get locked down into stuff like that, but you never know. Doc, is that the FPGA thing? Is that the thing that um, he uses over on Jacklick's arcade? Is that what you're talking about? The FPGA cat box? Yeah, I have seen that. That thing's really cool. That thing's awesome. I would try that. It looks really cool. So I have seen it. Yeah. Fred who? Fred who designed that? I don't know Fred. All right, Brendan. Yeah, I can look that up. It definitely, if it would take place of the hardware, that I mean, yeah, that's a good thing. That's a good thing to have. Hmm. I wonder why it doesn't do 8080 boards. Any reason why it doesn't do 8080 boards? Colin, I didn't dive too deep into it yet. I'm just assuming that it's the CPU board, but you're right. It could be anything on that thing. That's why I just pushed it back to the side. I don't have time for you right now. It could be an interconnect. It could be anything. It could be the RAM board. Who knows? No. Brendan, you're building one of the Fluke EMUs. Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, they're not making those anymore, the Flukes. So it's definitely good to have something. It's definitely good to have something to take place of hardware that's obsolete for sure. All right, Doc, I'll check that out. Does he actively sell that cat box thing? I'm gonna just copy that name that you got on there. Blah, 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 blah. I don't even know how to. Here we go. And copy and notepad paste. There, I saved his name, so I will look him up on Clove. And yeah, if he's actively selling those cat boxes, I think it'd be cool. I'd love to have one. I'm really impressed with them when I seen Jacklick use them. Yeah, we're not going to do ads, guys. Something just popped up, said they were getting ready to do some ads. I'm like, yeah, we're not doing that. Yeah, this is an older laptop. It's a Windows 7 laptop. It does have some really clicky buttons. Yeah. The only thing I can think of why it doesn't do 8080 is because 8080 has a lot of goofy control signals, a lot more goofy control signals than like a Z80 or 6502 does per se. The 8080's got a lot more to it, and it's a tri voltage. It has those other bias voltages like a 12 volt and a -5. So, yeah. Yeah, Doc. I mean, at that price, I would definitely buy one. So I will be checking that out. Thank you. And if when I do get one, I'll do a video on it, put it on, and promote the hell out of it for sure. Because it looks awesome. I'm really impressed with it. Another game that I have in the back in my shop is I have that driving game, Superbug. I really want to get that Superbug going. I think that would be cool. Yeah, Colin, that would be awesome. That would be cool. I would totally appreciate that. That would be awesome. Phil's Arcade, what's up? Phil, me and a friend of mine, um, Michael, he has a he has a Space Invaders Deluxe, and that thing was a headache and a half. He sent it to me, and I put it on the Fluke, and I did some board swapping testing stuff. And he's a Patreon member, so he just sent me something to do some work on, not really work, but to look at, try to help him along with fixing it. So I did some swaparooski stuff, figured out which board it was, and it still wouldn't work. It still wouldn't run. So I sent it back to him, and I was like, okay, here's my thought is there's a funky chip on the board that's just keeping it from running. And it got to the point, he removed all of the RAM and tested all the RAM, actually socketed and put new RAM in the board, and it still wouldn't run. So it was like, it's just a chip on the board that looks good, but for whatever reason, the physics of the chip, whether it's its ability to properly sync current or source current, there's something wrong with a chip on that board, but it looks good when you probe it. So he had to go and pick every one of those chips out until he got the right chip. And he did, and he fixed it. But it was just one of those things. Sometimes I see these chips that they look good, but they're not. And it's really weird and it's frustrating. It's a situation where you just have to replace parts. It's rare. I don't see it a whole lot, but I have seen it. And this was one of those cases. Yeah. Well, it depends. Phil, I guess it just depends on what it's doing. Yeah. Cube 64, how you doing? And it could be. It's just something. A lot of times you get I don't know. It's just weird. I don't really have a good explanation for it. They look good, but they don't work. It's just it's a weird phenomenon that happens sometimes. Like I said, I've only seen it a few times, but this was one of those times. It's weird. It'll make you really second guess yourself when you're probing stuff and you're analyzing stuff and stuff looks good, but it just doesn't work. It's like, what in the world is going on? It's frustrating. Ghosts in the machine. That you're probably right. That's the proper. That is the proper explanation. The retro chip tester pro, Brendan. You know what? I haven't because I haven't had a need to. I'm perfectly happy with my TL866 that I test chips TTL with on here, and then my Inquisitor. I really am happy with that. So I don't think about getting another chip tester. Mark, what kind of chips do you need? If I remember correctly, those what you call it, those security chips. Is that what you need for those for the pod 6502 pod? So Phil, you're writing an app that will help with fault finding, and this app will work on an iPad. The idea being that you can tap on a track, and I'll show you where that track goes on the board. Tap on a chip, and it'll give you the chip details counts. Well, that's pretty cool. So if you tap on a chip, it'll give you the power lines and the control lines, data lines, and all that kind of stuff. What's up, RGB TV? How you doing? Now, Colin, that what you just said about it identifying ROMs with ROM ident, that is very useful for me for what I do. Because I use ROM ident all the time. So that I do like. Well, that sounds cool, Phil. Yeah, Cube, I agree. I no, I didn't know that. That's that's a feature that that would definitely come in handy for me. I can't tell you. I can't tell you how often I use ROM ident. Almost every repair I do, I use ROM ident. That's one of the first things that I do. You guys probably know one of the very first things I do is I check to make sure the chips are good. Because the last thing I want to do is be chasing my tail around whether software is good. In RGB, I did not delete my Facebook. Yes, Mark, that's a secret that a lot of people don't know. A lot of board repair is done by cleaning and sockets, period. ASDF times 2. Thank you. Appreciate that. The barcade scene. I got to get to a good barcade. I really do. Let me see. What am I doing? Get all discombobulated here. Fuzzbook. All right. Yeah, RGB. I want to think about a month or two ago. I went through my Facebook thing and I was tired of Facebook. I went through a phase where I just got sick of all that. So instead of deleting Facebook, I went through my friends thing and I had like 600 friends in my list and I went down to 20. And it was just family, and I was like, if I'm gonna, and now I'm kind of over that. I don't know. Like I said, it's been a rough couple of months for me, you know, and It's all good though. I'd rather just have people that I associate with through this on my friends list and stuff like that. I don't need people that I don't really know or never talk to, type of thing, you know. Well, Doc, I guess it depends on the type of socket. Like I've come around to these sockets being okay. This is the typical type of socket that you see that has only one side swipe. These sockets actually, now you need to look at them. You need to look and make sure they're not bent and broken inside. But these sockets don't really have, I don't really have much of a problem with these ever. It's those midway sockets. The midway ones are the worst. And Williams uses them. Yeah, those ones. The typical type that are on Pac-Man or all of the Williams games, it seems. And Atari sockets. The old Atari sockets are terrible. Those tension sockets with the two pins that come together like this, those are garbage. Whenever you see those, get rid of them. But other than that, these ones, I've come around to letting these ones stay on boards because they seem to work. I never really have much of a problem with them. But that caveat is, of course, you have to really look at them and see if they're cracked because sometimes they'll be cracked and broke. And then, of course, you got to replace them. But for the most part, they hold up pretty good. Um, Phil, what part do I find almost impossible to get? And when I do, they cost more than they should. Um, I would say bipolar ROMs, but then the caveat is I don't think that they cost more than they should because they're freaking, they don't make them. But what I do is when I find something, yeah, the SC01, Brendan, that's a good one. But once again, that's just something that you're lucky if you find one. You're better off buying a complete Wizard of War board set or Gorf board set that's complete. You're almost better off just buying that to get that chip. I've done that actually. I have a Wizard and War board set. Well, I didn't do it just for that chip, but I bought a Wizard and War board set as a tool, basically for doing repairs, because it's good to have. That's another thing about if you're doing repairs on any kind of scale, it's good to have working sets to do swaparooskies and really save yourself some time on dialing in what is actually wrong. So that's another thing. But yeah, those chips, bipolar ROMs. But what I was going to say is when I do find something, I buy heavy on parts. Like I'll find a source that from Hungary or something like that that has a certain bipolar ROM or a like a Russian version of a 82S123, and they're selling 10 of them for $5. I'll buy 100 of them. You know, that's how I roll. When I find stuff like that, I buy big on them. So I think I found a source for PLS 153s, which are used a lot, and it's the 82S 153 PAL. Um, I found a source for those, and I think I bought 100 of those, or maybe even more. I might have bought like 160 of those chips. So I don't think I'll ever need to buy those again. When I find them, I buy them. So I'll tell you, pokies. I went on a mission one time collecting pokies, and I don't know, people might look down on this, But what I did was I bought Atari 7800 ball blazer games. I pick one up for anywhere from 20 to 30 bucks and desolder and remove the pokey out of it. That's one of the only games that has a pokey in it where you can actually get it somewhat cheap. So I've got probably 20, if not more than 20, um, new old stock, basically pokies. That's another one of those things. When I find a source for something, I just buy and buy and buy and buy and buy and stockpile so that I can continue to do this. But yeah, the Bally Astro Cade chips, those are unobtainium. The only way that you can get those is by buying a system. You know, we need to get some smarter people to to reverse engineer and redo those. That's out of my scope. It really kind of baffles me that that hasn't been done. Those there just must be some magic in those chips that can't be figured out. Brendan, you state that customs are killing repair. That is why I state in my when people get a hold of me for repair, I don't do anything after 1985. I won't mess with anything that's in the JAMA era because of customs and you know, pro, what's that word? Proprietary chips. You know, yeah, I just don't mess with those. Well, I'll tell you what, that'll be a breakthrough. A breakthrough when the Bally chips are reproduced. That will be one of the big breakthroughs for the arcade community when those chips are reproduced. Because right now, those chips are killing a lot of games. And you really don't have a choice but to put a PC and run MAME Wizard of War or something like that because you cannot get those chips. Yeah, the Pokies have been reproduced, but I like the originals. I like original chips if I can. Yeah, Brendan. I mean, there's two. You have the data custom. The data custom is the one that always goes bad, is that data custom chip. And then you have the address custom chip. And then most of the games have two of the IO slash audio chips. So that's a total of four. Four of them damn customs on those Bally games. Yeah, I know. I know Cube 64. I tell you, that's why I just make sure you have a good power supply, have good capacitors on the lines, because there are capacitors that go to those chips, to smooth out the voltages and whatever going into those chips. And every time you turn one of those on, you're rolling the dice. Yeah, Robbie Roto's cool. Robbie Roto is a cool game. A lot of those, I've repaired a couple Robbie Rotos where that memory board is just destroyed with battery damage. But you can completely remove all the components. You can give it a good, really super fine grit, wet sanding to remove all that garbage, and they can be rebuilt. I've done it. I've rebuilt them, removed all the garbage, and they work. But goodness, it's bad news. Jason, what is for lunch? What is for lunch? I don't know. And yes, Brendan, the memory board for Roto is specific. It is only for Roto. As is the game slash IO PCB for all of the games. They all have their own game slash input output board. And they all have their own memory board. All the other boards are common. Uh-oh. Guys, I didn't catch the ad stuff. I was going to turn the ads off, and I didn't catch it. Cool, good, Mark. I'm glad you didn't. Happy New Year, Jason. Happy New Year. Thank you. Yeah, Brendan, I agree. I mean, I like the idea of, and it's a lot like the Sega G80 stuff. I like the idea of self-contained boards, but those card cages suck. They really do. Yeah, Phil, I always use an ad blocker on mine as well. It's too many ads. Too many ads out there. Mark, I have zero pinball. I was never into pinball. I was never a pinball guy. Even to this day, I just can't get into pinball. I don't know why. It's just not my thing. Never was. I remember back in the 80s going to an arcade and they'd have a line of pinball games down the side. And I'd just look at them. I'd never played them. I never played a pinball game. Well, I'm not saying I never have, but I would just walk by. I'd never mess with them. I don't know. It just never appealed to me. Yeah, I agree. SNES, Super NES, I agree. And I do have the extenders though. I had to buy. I had to. I think Vector Labs sells the extenders for the Midway cage, and I had to buy them because you have to be able to get the boards out of the cage. Yeah, Brendan, pinball is ridiculously expensive. But so are video games. Video games are crazy, crazy expensive nowadays. I remember 20 some years ago, even 20 years ago, you could go to an auction and pick up a Donkey Kong for $100, maybe 200, and or you name the game, an asteroid. I remember one time going to this is probably 2004, something like that. I remember going to an auction in a complete asteroids game. Didn't work, but it was complete. Went for 50 bucks. And I remember I didn't buy it because I was like, I don't want an asteroids. $50. You know, just, yeah, Star Wars for 250. But even 20 years ago, you could probably get a good condition Star Wars for $500. And that would have been like one of the elite games. 5 to 600 bucks, probably, I would say, 20 years ago. And now that's a $3,000 to $4,000 game or something like that, maybe even more. It's ridiculous. It's cool. I mean, it's good that these games getting that kind of notoriety and value. Yeah, a Cubert for 50 bucks. Can you imagine a Cubert for $50? Oh, it was missing a cord. Deal breaker. No cord. That's a deal breaker. No wonder it was 50 bucks. Cubert's such a good game. Cubert is a great classic. I would love to have a Cubert. You know, unfortunately for me, I think that my chance on owning a Cubert is over with because I'm not into paying that kind of money for games. Yeah, Mark, that sounds awesome. A Cubert and a Frogger, two great games. Yeah, Jason, I saw Todd. He came over not long ago, last week. He came over last week because he actually had his power went out. We had a bad snowstorm, and his power went out, and he came over and borrowed like 5 gallon things of water. Not borrowed. I gave him 5 gallon things of water to go over and help him with that. Yeah, it's. But as far as his game room, I got to get over there and check it out again because he has made progress on it. So yeah, I do want to get over there. Like I said though, the last couple of months has just not been great for me. So I haven't been doing much. I haven't. But my brother and I just the other day, yesterday, 2 days ago, we got my dad over into a basically like a nursing home. You know, we had been taking care of him at home for the last 2 months, and he within the last 3 months or so, he was diagnosed with cancer, and it's just, guys, that shit's no joke, man. Yeah, thanks, Jason. It's been tough, man. Yeah, Mark. Well, I'm sorry, Phil. Sorry to hear that. It's, it is, you just got to tell yourself it is what it is, and you do the best you can. The good news is he's only like a less than a mile away from me. So I'll go over and visit him pretty much every day. And unlike my mom, when my mom got sick, my mom had Alzheimer's really bad. She just didn't know anybody. My dad still knows. He still knows, who we are and stuff. So at least there's that. So, well, thank you, Princess. I appreciate that. Thank you. Sorry to hear that, Mark. Yeah. Yes, Brandon. Yes. Focus on the good. Hi, Michelle. Sean. Right, Mark. Yeah, it is. Especially when, it's just so sudden. Like I said, when you get diagnosed with cancer and all of a sudden it's like you go from being somewhat normal in the summertime to right now you're a shell. It's crazy. Yeah, Carl. Yeah, it is. It is fortunate. He's in a great place. He's in a top notch place. So my dad. I don't know you guys. The big three. We're in Michigan. My dad worked for General Motors, so he had top tier retirement insurance. So he's in a top tier place. So he's taking they take good care of him, and he's close. So hello, David. Yes, Jason. That's why the games are great. They take you out of real life issues for a while, and you just get to play games like you were a kid. It's great. You guys don't mind? I'm gonna go get a refill. I'll be right back. All right. Alrighty. Got myself a nice refill. Yeah, like I said, today I'm getting out and I'm working on this eyes board. Eyes. Rockola. Super cool game. I really like it. You can look at this board, and this is a complete Pac-Man ripoff. It looks like the same hardware as Pac-Man almost. But super cool game. I really enjoy it. So I'll fix this one up, and then I got two more Rockola boards. They're jump bugs. It's of the same job that Pioneer balloon or whatever, the nibbler and the warp. Yeah. Jason, you know Steve over at Electronic Parts. Steve's a good friend of mine. I've actually got some of his boards at my house, and I have had. He bought one of my Berserk games. I sold him one of the last Berserk arcade game that I had. I sold to him, and I sold it because I was moving out of Flint, Michigan, and I needed to get rid of it. And I sold it to him for like $200 or something like that. This is 2011. And I asked him a few years after that, I asked him if he wanted to sell it back to me, and he said no. And I was like, ah. But I've got a Berserk now. I got one. And that's why I'll never get rid of this one. Is I actually asked him if he'd sell my game back to me. And he was like, no. And I was like, damn it. Jason, okay. All right. Now I remember. You brought over the Operation Wolf stuff. Gotcha. Gotcha. Thank you for sending that listing, Jason. That's the Berserk game that I have out in my garage now, or my shop. Well, Carl, the problem is I had to sell the games. You know what? No, I didn't. I didn't have to sell the games. I chose to. I didn't have to sell anything, but I chose to sell my games, and I kicked myself in the ass for doing it. I had a battle zone. I had a nice battle zone. I sold that. Yeah. And one of the most egregious things that me and Todd both knew about, my friend Todd, when I was moving out of Flint in 2011, I had, Todd had, or one of us did, I don't even remember where this thing came from. We had a mini Astro Blaster that worked, Sega Astro Blaster. And we left it in my garage when I moved, just left it, didn't take it or whatever. Oh, I feel bad. I feel nasty even saying that. We just left it there. I asked him, hey, you want this thing? He's like, no. And I was like, nah, I don't want it either. So I left it. I sold the house, moved out, and I left it in the garage. That might be ooh, that makes me feel like ooh, that's bad. That's bad. Yeah, Mark, that's a darn good score. Free Space Duel. Space Duel is a cool game. I really like Space Duel. If I had the choice, me personally, if I had the choice between Asteroids Deluxe, Space Duel, I'm taking Space Duel every time. That's just me. I know a lot of people are like, oh, hell no, Asteroids is where it's at. I like Space Duel. I really do. Oh, Carl. Oh, all right. You win. You win, Carl. You left a Star Wars behind. Oh, that makes me want to cry. Get it done, Mark. Sounds good. We'll be looking forward to that, Mark. I'm not sure what Sega 360 is. I don't know what that is. Sega 360. Hmm. Yeah, Mark, that was good of someone to put that on Craigslist, saying, "Someone come and pick this thing up." Yeah. Well, that was a good score. That Space Duel is very happy that you went and picked it up, Mark. I'm sure. Wow, it's amazing. It's amazing that someone would just take that down to the road and dump it. You know, today in today's world, what those things are worth. The monitor alone. When was that, Mark? When did that happen? Was that a long time ago or was that somewhat recent? Yeah, that's recent enough. Yeah. If it was like 1997, okay, I get it. People people were throwing stuff away left and right back then. But within 5, 6, 7 years, yeah, you know, people know better. People in the know better. Even people that wouldn't know would look at that and be like, "Well, this looks pretty cool. This is probably worth some money." But no, just take it down and dump it at the end of the road. Just makes no sense to me. No, Brendan, I have not thought of doing that because I'm not into hacking. I'm not a hacky guy. You know, hacking one monitor to do another thing. That's just not my thing. Arcade Jason has the market cornered on that kind of stuff. I don't. I'm not into that kind of stuff. Speaking of Arcade Jason, he's been absolutely absent. He doesn't do videos and stuff anymore. I think he's busy Just making game stuff. I don't know. And it misses channel. Uh-oh. Skip ads. No ads. And it said, this thing down here said ads will go for some viewers. So not everyone would have it, but I turned it off. No ads. Yeah, Jason, I know he was facing some trouble for sure. But I did see him list a game for sale on Facebook not long ago. Yeah, he got into some kind of. I don't want to talk shit about Arcade Jason on here, but he did get into some kind of trouble, I think, with someone that he did do a project with. I don't know, but I'm not gonna. I don't want to. I don't want to get into none of that. $4,600 chassis. To me, the only thing that sucks about it is getting it free. Working on it is a piece of cake. Getting it out of the monitor is the problem. I kind of love 4600s though. I love them. I absolutely love the 46. If I could put 4600s in every one of my games, I would. That's just me. They are not medium res. They are standard. Now, I've never had good luck with those 7000s. Those seem to be chinsy to me. The flybacks are garbage from the factory on them. That's one thing about the 4600. Those flybacks are a tank. I've never seen one bad. I've never seen a 4600 with a bad flyback. It's just they're not the easiest to work on, which I guess goes back to they're a pain in the ass. Gotcha. They're hard to get out of the game. They're hard to get out of the monitor itself. Hmm. Yeah. I don't know. Super Nests. I've never had a problem with those very much. It's always just been a resoldering issue, making sure that the solder is resoldered and all that. And I've never had a problem with them. That's my experience. Your experience may be different. No, I will say the solder is always cracked. 100% of the time, the solder on the boards on the main board where they plug in is always cracked. But that's just part of the maintenance, I guess. It's just resoldering. Yeah, that's just my experience. I've never had a problem with the female pins on the card itself being flaky. I've never had a problem with that. But I'm not discounting that it doesn't happen. It's just never been my experience. Yeah. Yeah, the solder joints, that's typical. They're always cracked. Always. I agree with that, Brendan. I replaced the flyback in my um, easy, my 20 easy, and I just kind of zip tied the pots that the focus and screen pots. I just kind of zip tied them out of the way because there's no good way to put them. And I did leave the cage off of the flyback as well. Hello, Michael. Michael Torrent, how are you? I appreciate that. Thank you. It's been fun. Hi, Jackie Kraft. Thank you. You are many welcomes. Easy EZ20s, EZ20, Sanyo EZV. Those things are a pretty stout monitor, to be honest. The flybacks are 50-50, but they seem to just work. Those Geo7s to me can be the flakiest of the flaky. See you, Mark. Lunch does sound good. Hello, Chad. How are you? Good morning. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everybody. Geo7s, don't get me wrong, they look beautiful when they're right. Really nice, glowy, good monitor. But man, they are flaky. And Phil's, it's dinner time. Dinner time at Phil's. Dinner at Phil's. That could be a YouTube segment. Dinner at Phil's. Yeah, the Geo7 is a versatile monitor. It's got multiple sync inputs, which is good. Some monitors will only work with the negative sync, negative composite sync, 20 EZV. But Yeah, that inverted video thing. And you know what? With the the inverter board, those don't work that good. You always have to, in my case, the one that I have out in the shop, it works good with regular Nintendo boards that send out the inverted video, the negative video. It works good and has a good picture. If I try using that EZV with a regular board, eyes, if I try using it with this, I got to go through that inverter board. And the picture never looks right. It can never get it quite right, even though that inverter board is completely rebuilt and works perfect. You can never get the colors that good. So I just think they suck, in my humble opinion. I think the EZV really is only, I would only use it with a Nintendo game. I wouldn't try using that with something else. I'd put a Go7 or something like that in there. That's my thought. Yeah, yeah, you're probably onto something there with the just badly engineered or whatever. I don't know. Well, that's interesting, Super Nintendo. That's, with the modern op amp implementation, I would like to see that circuit. I would like to see that circuit and actually build it. Hell, I'd design a little circuit board for it. Make my own inverter board. Same footprint as the original one, only with op amps. That would be cool, wouldn't it? I think that would be worth doing because I think those things suck. I think they're inoperable. They just don't work that good. Colors never look right. It never looks good. Does Mike's Arcade have one that is strictly only for inverting the colors, or does it have the audio stuff on it and all that too? I actually have something from Mike's Arcade that is like it's an inverter. It inverts video and stuff for use on a regular monitor. Yeah, it inverts the video and it amplifies the audio for use with speakers and a regular monitor. I do have something like that. Pretty sure. Yeah. Holy crap, we've been on for an hour and a half. You believe that? Time flies. And it is lunchtime, and I need to get out. I need to get out and finish this. And then I'm not videoing this. I'm not making a video of this. I'm going to be playing this. I guarantee you. I'm going to be playing Eyes today. I guarantee you that. But I think I will make videos on the jump bug boards. I have two of those to do. I think that'll be my next videos. And then I'm actually fixing some sounds good boards for Rampage. audio boards. And I may video that. Super NES Hum Fix mod. Are you speaking of the Hum in Nintendo games? Yeah. Yeah, that's one really common problem. Is those things hum a lot. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. They routed unshielded wire over a transformer. I can't picture that. Which transformer is it on the chassis board? The unshielded wire goes over that transformer. I can't picture it. Jackie, my cats have passed on. Sorry. My cats are gone. See you, Michael. Yeah, Jackie, it's sad. It's a tough one, but yep. Yep. I never mentioned anything about the cats or anything in my videos because I just didn't want to deal with it. But it was a while. It was a while back, a couple of months, I guess. And they both passed on, one right after another. You know, I said earlier, one of them just got sick, and it wasn't a surprise. And she died, and then the other one got hit by a car like a week later, and I was like, really? Sucked. See you, Brendan. Have fun at work. Have fun at work. That is an oxymoron. Yeah, thanks, SNES. Thank you. It is awful, but it is what it is. Well, guys, I think I'm gonna get off of the stream. I think I'm gonna go ahead and find some lunch. I might go over to my brother's. Like I said, my brother lives 2 houses from me, and he made pancakes earlier, pancakes and bacon. So I might go have that for lunch, and then I have to get to work. I'm gonna fix this eyes board. I'm gonna play eyes for the rest of the day, and then I'm gonna work on the jump bug stuff. I have to make a harness for it. Hopefully, I get that accomplished by the end of the day. And I think I will record those jump bug repairs. The reason I didn't do these eyes, I got 2 of these eyes boards in for repair. I plugged one of them in and it works. So it worked. This one had a graphic error and it does not have a sound amp. It's missing the amp. So I'm going to put an amp in it. And I had to clean that. This board was completely dirty, filthy. And I cleaned it, and just removing the chips and putting them back in might clear up the problem that it had with the graphics. So I plan on playing eyes for the rest of the day, and you can look for those jump bug boards. That's what I'll be repairing next, and I'm gonna record those because that's kind of a cool game, right? And yeah, so that's the plan. Then we'll go hang out with my brother, see what's going on. You guys all have a good lunch. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we will be seeing you later on. Bye for now.